Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jasia Bhutto. I am from Government Girls Degree College Larkana, and this lecture is presented on the behalf of Sindh College lecturers, College Education Department, Government of Sindh. The topic of this lecture is how to classify or describe the character of a play or a novel. Starting off with a disclaimer that the method mentioned in this video has been proven helpful and is based on a lesson from Read, Write, Think in alliance with International Literary Association. Let us begin. Your first year course includes 2 plays from the book 2 one-act plays, and the second year course includes a novel, Prisoner of Senda by Anthony Hope, and the students are required to be able to write a detailed and descriptive sketch about the characters in the books. Our focus in this lecture is on recognizing the traits of a character and to describe the character based on your understanding of it. Observation is the key point here. When we read a work of fiction, we automatically relate to and sympathize with the characters of their story, and the feelings emoted by this sympathy engages us more in the story. We start to develop a certain view of characters, which brings us to the characterization. Now, characterization is a process in which a writer explains the personality, nature, or identity of a character. There are 2 simple ways to go about understanding it. Number 1 is direct characterization, and number 2 is indirect characterization. A reminder that the method mentioned earlier is used only for recognizing the indirect characterization. Focusing on these 2 categories, I will also be giving examples along the way, mainly from the first year class play The Count's Revenge, written by John Henry Walsh, which, as you all should know, is an adaptation of the classic novel The Count of Monte Cristo, written by Alexander Dumas. Now let us begin with the category number 1, the direct characterization. In the direct characterization, the writer, who also acts as a narrator in the story, verbally illustrates some parts of the nature or personality of a character. If we look into the example for this in the book 2 one-act plays on page number 11, the description of some of the traits of the Count of Monte Cristo's personality are written. It reads as, the doors are opened by 2 valets who stand aside to admit a splendidly dressed nobleman. And further it says that he is the handsome hero, gay, cynical, not very young, with a touch of the devil about him. These lines, as you can see in the book, are the words of the writer describing the character as the narrator of the play. These lines are not the dialogues of any of the characters from the play. You have to be aware of this while reading the texts. Moving forward with the second category, which is the indirect characterization. And also, as I have said before, this category uses the method mentioned earlier. In the indirect characterization, the narrator does not explain the nature and traits of the character. The nature and personality of a character is revealed by the character's actions in the story. Now, this is where you have to think, read through your text, and focus your attention on any one of the characters. Then take notes about their certain key actions or even common actions, the words they speak, and the presence they create. This is what to analyze. Now, we will discuss how to analyze. And remember, half of your study depends upon your response to the given exercise. So, learn and participate. Use the acronym STEAL, which will help you break down the behaviors that are needed to understand the indirect characterization. S means speech, T means thoughts, E means effect on others, A means action, and L means looks. S represents speech, which means think about what the character is saying and how is he saying it. In scene 1 of the Count's Revenge, when Monte Cristo visits the house of Morcerf, he denies the Countess Morcerf of her hospitality when she says, "Pray be seated, sir, while I summon my servants and order them to set some refreshment before you." To which Monte Cristo waves his hands dismissively and says, "Pardon me, madam, I cannot stay." And he turns to Albert and says, "And remember what I tell you. Do not put your trust in duels, but in a slow and surely planned revenge." These exchange of dialogues say a lot about him, and it is unto you to decipher these words for your practice. T represents think about the thoughts or feelings or private movements that the character has with himself, how he feels or reacts about certain things in his private time. For this, the example is taken from the second play of the book, Progress, written by St. John Irving. The lack of empathy shows in how Professor Corey delights in his private time by doing experiments, but does not feel dejected for his sister's loss, nor does he console his sister. Read the rest of the play and you will come to know Professor's character traits through his feelings. E represents effect. Think about the effect of one character and his actions on another character and how other characters react and feel about him. For example, the effect the Countess of Morcerf has on Monte Cristo. At night, when the Count has made all arrangements to kill Albert in the duel tomorrow, the Countess of Morcerf comes to him and implores him as a mother and his former betrothed to not kill her son, and the Count not only reconciles, even though he has right to revenge, but he agrees to take the bullet instead of killing Albert. For the purpose of exercise, you should write about the Count's nature based on this scene. A represents action. Think about what does the character do and how does he behaves. For example, at first, Albert was keen on avenging his family honor for his father's sake, even if it meant that he will duel with his dear friend and a more qualified dueler. But when he found out about the wrongs his father has committed against Monte Cristo, he reconciles and is appalled by the Count of Morcerf. L represents the looks. Think about the physical appearance of the character. The suitable example would be to look at first impression of Mrs. Maldon from the play progress. When Hannah, the maid, informs Professor Corey that his sister is waiting for him, she says, "She really isn't happy, sir. Her nerves aren't at all right. You see, she cannot forget, sir." Hannah's perspective already tells us the mournful condition of Mrs. Maldon. Look into more dialogues, put an image of a character's appearance in your head. Try this exercise with other characters from your books. Think and describe. Here are some reference materials to read for further information. Subscribe to this channel for more information and enhance your learning. Thank you.